Hello everybody, this is Victor on the Let Me Explain show, and today I would like to walk you through how you use selection tools in Photoshop. So basically, selection tools are an element in Photoshop that allows you to pick a certain area and then work in that particular area, either cut it out or work with it as it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to go straight into Photoshop and get going with it with a selected image. Okay, so we are in Photoshop, and what I have here is a perfect. And these are our selection tools. We've got the marquee. So if you hover over it, it will give you the name of it. That's a rectangular marquee. And if it has a small triangle there, then right here at the bottom right corner, that means if you right click, you'll be able to see other tools that is that are associated with that. We've got the line marquee, we've got the elliptical, and so on and so on. And then over here we have this tool is your polygon lasso will give you edges, like sharp edges. If you want to select something with sharp edges, I'll walk you through that. And once again, if you double click or right click on it, you'll discover it has the lasso tool, the polygon lasso, and the magnetic lasso. I'll walk you through all those as well. So those are the selection tools we'll be working with at the moment to start off with. And once we're done with those, we can then look at also the magic wand and the quick selection tool. So let's start with the rectangular marquee. When do you use a rectangular marquee? Now, this will basically do, as the name suggests, create a rectangle or a square. So if you're selecting objects within that format, then the rectangular marquee will be what to use. And if you want to deselect or make the selection go away, you just press Command D or Control D on your if you're working on Windows, and the marquee will go away. So let's say we want to select this graphic, just the graphic and not anything else in the T-shirt. So the rectangular marquee will work great, but it has limitations. And the limitation is this: if you're selecting your rectangle and then you get a phone call halfway through and you go, oops, you know, then that's the selection you have. And the problem is that you've got this other area not selected. So that's an issue. And what you would use for the what you would do is, if you're not interrupted, is you'd select around the whole section just like that. And what I like to do is create a new layer. So you'll select the whole section just like that. But once again, we've missed that whole section at the bottom, and that's an issue again. So the rectangular marquee does have those limitations, and because of that, I'll have to show you how the polygon lasso works. Now, the polygon lasso will create points. That means I can click here, go across, click the next point, go down, click my next point, making sure I've got all my design selected, and click the next point. As you can see, that the it's not activated yet. So even if I get interrupted, I can still come back and carry on with the polygon lasso. So there we go. And once you get to where you begun, you'll notice that a small circle appears next to the polygon lasso icon. And that shows you that you've completed the circle. You've got all the way around. And if you just click on that, it then gives you the marching ants. And you've got a perfect selection there. In a nutshell, like I said, it does have limitations. So if you find that you, okay, so maybe you want to select just a portion of it and very crudely select it and not worrying about whether you get the whole section in, then you can obviously use the rectangular marquee just like that, and then you select your area and you can work within that area. Now, what are the advantages of select of working within a selection? It means that let me just get rid of this layer first. Let's say I've selected this part, right? Just the design, okay? And what it means is the only active area is within that the marching ants. That's the little white lines going around it. Anything else out here is not active. So let's take a brush and I'll show you what that means. I'll make it real big. And we're gonna paint our design. Say we want to paint it black, so let's select the color of the t-shirt and we're just gonna paint it black. Let's increase our opacity to 100%. We're just gonna paint it black. And then you decide, oh well, you know what, I want to paint that section white, right? So we're gonna switch to white. And as you can see, the only action is happening within the marching ants. Even if I scrub anywhere else within the design, nothing will happen. All right, so that's the advantage of that. Besides selecting and cutting out an area, you can also use it as a tool to protect other areas so you can work in a specific area. So that being said, I will also show you how the elliptical tool works. Now the elliptical tool obviously will give you either a circle. If you hold down your shift button, you get a perfect circle. So you hold down your shift button as you're selecting and you get a perfect circle. If you let go your shift button, you can then distort it to get an elliptical shape of your liking. All right, so let's actually use that effectively. Let's say I want to select a part of this design in an elliptical form. So I'll drag down up to the point where I want to select, then drag across. And the beauty of it is you can still move it. You can move that selection around. So there you go. And you can even distort it. But the problem with distorting it is it's actually active within the layer under it. So you probably don't want to distort it. And how I got to distort was by pressing Command T or Control T, I believe it is on Windows. Anyway, so that's the elliptical tool. It's for selecting areas with an ellipse shape, or if you hold down your shift key with a circle shape. So if I select a circle there, okay, let's make it practical. Let's select a circle there, just the face. We just want the face, and we want to put the face somewhere else. All right, so once you've selected that, all you have to do is Command C on a Mac or Control C on Windows, and then Command V to paste, or you can go up to the menu tablet and copy and paste it. Now in the layer section, we now have a layer of the face, and I'm going to move to my move tool, go to my move tool, and now if I drag it, we now have the face in a perfect circle. There you go. All right, so I'm just going to undo that completely, and let's take a look at the ellipse shape. Okay, so let's say we want to use the ellipse shape, but not in any particular strict format. So there we've got our ellipse shape, and we're going to position it by using our up and down arrows. That's what I'm using at the moment. And once it's in place, you can then copy and paste or do whatever you want to do with it. And once you move it, or you can turn off the background layer, the layer under it, and there we go. That's our selection right there. So now we can move it where we want. We can give it a shadow, give it effects, and so on and so on. So that's the elliptical tool, along with the rectangular Marquee tool. Now we're going to move on to the polygon lasso once again, and just revisit the polygon lasso just to show you what I was talking about. Now it's great for corners, so around the edges it won't work so good. Why? Because it works with straight lines, as in a polygon has straight lines. So that's how um, effective this will be with sharp edges, you can use the polygon lasso. So what would you use then for edges that have got more variations? You would use you would use still under that, you can use the magnetic lasso. Now the magnetic lasso works with areas that have sharp contrast. So if I click there and simply drag along the edge, the magnetic lasso finds the edge for you. So I'll quickly go through this. So simply by running through the edge, it selects an edge for me. And once I get to the point where I started, once again, you'll get that circle next to the icon. And if you click on that, the selection gets into effect. Now, we do have a section here that's not selected properly. There are two ways to deal with this. You could either add it in. So we've got an area that's badly selected over here. What we could do is go into refine edge and then decontaminate colors. See how this works. So it's personal. It depends on what you're doing. There's no a recipe for it. Each image will have different requirements for it. So what you want to do is try it out and see what works. So as you can see, it's got a plus symbol to it. And if I scrub over that, it will add the rest of that white into the selection. So I'm just simply going to scrub over the white areas, and Photoshop recalculates that area as a selected area. So I'll just go through the edges and just make sure they're nice and sharp. All right, there we go. Okay, so once you've done that, when you choose decontaminate colors, what it does, it will create another layer with a mask on it. And this is what I mean. I hope it's in shot. If it's not in shot, I'm sorry about that. Let me move that there. So this is what I'm talking about. That it creates a layer with a mask in it. Now this area, this second block, is what the mask is basically. It's an area that is non-destructive, but you can edit it in terms of adding or taking away. Now I'm okay with working with masks, but sometimes they can get tricky. Now, how the mask is working is the black area around is the hidden area. So anything black in a mask is hidden and anything white is exposed. So what that means is once we have our selection good to go like so, all we have to do is choose a brush. Let me reduce that. Perfect. All right. So we're going to choose the brush and note what happens. Oh, I've got a white brush selected. So I've got the brush selection here as white. Now if I paint over that, over this section, the white will reappear. Now to make it show clearly, I'll put a red background so that we can clearly see what I'm talking about. So in this one, I'm going to dump some red. Well, let's dump some gold. Right, like that. Okay, so that's our t-shirt with the selection, and the mask is there. If I deactivate, disable the mask, the white will reappear as we have in this original layer. And if I activate the mask, enable the mask, the white area is hidden because we selected out only the t-shirt, and therefore the mask area is the black area is hiding the area that we selected out. Now let's say I want a bit of the golds taken away, but I want it with a funky brush so that I can give it a texture. So we choose our brush, select whatever brush you want to select, and if I simply paint white into that, you got to change that to white into that. You make sure you're in the layer, in the mask section. So click on the mask, because if you're over here, nothing will really happen. You're actually painting onto the t-shirt, which we don't want to do. So make sure you've got the mask layer selected by clicking on it, and then when you paint that, we're painting with black, so that means we're hiding still. What we want to do is paint with white. If you press your X button, your colors will change, background and foreground color. All right, so we want white so that the original white background shows. So there we go. So that means our mask is being taken away there, and we'll undo that. We don't need to keep that. So that's the whole purpose of masks. So let's say you don't want to work within the mask. You've got everything you need, and now you're happy with your selection. It's now on a transparent background. That's what those checkered points mean. And you're good with that. You're going to turn it into a picture network graphic or PNG, or save it as a GIF. That means an image with a transparent background. You're good to go. So what you do is you right click on the mask and you go apply mask. All right. And what that means is the mask is now flattened into the image and you've got your selection right there. Now, the beauty of having used decontaminate colors is it's created two layers for us. So we've got image, original image over here as background, and then we've got background copy. So if we turn off our original image, we can add whatever background we want into that from our selection. So this is a drawing by Kendall, a friend of mine, a youth I taught, and I'm going to drag that in and bring it over there and use that as a demo background. So we're going to drag it below our layer. There you go. So that's what I would use the selection for. That's how you would use the magnetic lasso, and the polygon lasso, like I said, is for sharp edges, so you wouldn't use that. Now let's go into the quick selection tool. What does that do? We've got two happening here. We've got the magic wand, which does look like a wand. Now the magic wand, again, when selecting, make sure you're in the layer you want to work with. Now the magic wand selects areas with the same colors, color contrast, or same color or same contrast if it's black and white. So if I click on the black of the t-shirt, the magic wand will try to select every area that's black. All right. So this is great if you're doing color separation, you're working with flat colors. The magic wand does a pretty decent job on that. But once you have a slight variation in color, as in this gold section of our design, you'll notice that it only picks up the colors in one range. And if you go up to your menu and you go choose select and select similar, it will simply pick up all the tones that are similar. So the problem with this is that we're not exactly picking out the whole image. What I did is I cut out, oopsie, sorry. What I did is I cut out the selection. I'll undo that. And so like we saw, as we observed, with a flat color, one color, it works great. All right. And we can actually see the results here. Let me deactivate that area. So if I select the black and then cut it, it does a pretty good job of cutting out all the black in the image, except for this area within the design, which it didn't reach because, like I said, it tries to select all the colors in one plane that are similar. All right. So that's the magic wand for you. It doesn't do a great job if you've got a variety of tones, but it does do a great job if you're selecting one color. All right, so we'll undo that. And under that is the quick selection tool, which is totally fantastic as it finds edges for you. So let's select our design in this case. In fact, let's select the t-shirt to start. If I want to select the t-shirt and not the design, all I have to do is scrub on it. Now the beauty of the quick selection tool is it's more intuitive. It kind of like finds more edges for you, unlike the magic wand, which selects similar tones or similar color. But it's got its limitations. As you can see, it left out some of the gold there, some of the gold there, and some of the gold there, which you could probably fix up by going into refine edge, and then you just scrub over the areas it had left out. All right. So once you scrub it over, it will reselect those areas into it. Let's see. So it did a much better job. Those areas are now included. And it also did a good job of leaving out the label. If you want to add it, just scrub over it and it will be included in the selection. So that's how the quick selection tool works. And so we've covered the rectangular marquee, the elliptical tool, um, the polygon lasso, the magnetic lasso, quick selection tool, and the magic wand. So those are the lightweight selection tools. On the heavier side, you have the pen tool. Now, the pen tool is for those who are more experienced with Photoshop, or who are at an intermediate level, because it is a pretty tricky tool to use. It creates a vector. Um, it selects by mathematically calculating your area, and what I'm doing is I'm creating a path, and the beauty of it is I can go over here and curve the line to fit my design. I would need to do a whole lesson on this to show you how effective and powerful this tool is. And as you can see, it's creating these arms that you can later manipulate to fit your design. This works well with color separation when you're doing an intricate design and you want to select areas out of it. So this is what I'm working with. So let's say, for example, you've got that. If you hold on your Alt key, you can manipulate that to fit your design. And once again, once you get to the end, the circle will appear and you have a path. Now, what I mean by a path is a work path. If you right click on it, then you can make a selection from it. And you can choose the feathering, that how soft it will be. And once again, we have a selection that we want. We've selected a particular part, but it's got very well-defined edges to it. So that's the pen tool. It's a fantastic tool, but it takes some getting used to. If you're just doing lightweight selections, then I would recommend you use the quick selection tool, the magic wand if you've got flat color areas, or the elliptical shape if you're working with very graphic formatted shapes. So those tools will work. I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you liked it, please leave a comment below or simply hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel also, as this really benefits my channel to see that I've got an audience of people who are benefiting from it. All right, this has been Victor from the Let Me Explain show, and have yourself a wonderful day.